From the thong-wearing beaches of Miami, Florida, to the flannel-wearing ski bunnies of Whistler, BC, this is The Qualk Show with your host, Carol Rosher.
Welcome to The Qualk Show, everybody, and happy Saturday night. On tonight's show, we're going to be celebrating Father's Day, a subject that none of us know anything about. So we have brought on a few special men to help us out with tonight's show and this subject and shed a little bit of light on what Father's Day means in their home. We are also going to pay tribute to the men and women, our brothers and our sisters, who lost their lives this past weekend in a hate crime that has rocked our community and our world. Before we get any further, though, Hallie, how can everybody get a hold of us today if they want to comment and be part of the show?
Of course, we always are going to have our beautiful little flower picture. It's already live on the live comment chat below, so you want to go into the comments and you're just going to chat with us. I also am testing out a new setup tonight, so I am also live on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, like on your laptop, scroll to the bottom. In the comment section, I just put, hi, we're live here tonight. So if that would be easier, we're going to test it out. Hopefully we can get rid of this pain point. So I'm excited.
That's awesome. So even if you don't really want to talk to us, just let us know if you can.
Just tell us hi.
So that we know we're going forward if this is working or not, all of you YouTubers out there in YouTube land. Before we go on, I want to introduce the cast. On tonight's show, we have fathers Samuel West and Chet Atkins. Sam is a F to M stepfather who is going to shed some light on what it's like going from a situation where you're celebrating Mother's Day to then when you're celebrating Father's Day, and what the differences are there and what the transition is like for him and also for his family. Then we're going to be talking to Chet, and Chet is the father to two kids who are mostly grown at this point and giving him a hard time. We're so happy to hear that. And basically we're going to pick his brain about what Father's Day looks like for him and how maybe the kids adjusted from going from a male-female family to a family that involves daddy's dates hanging out and things of that nature, and how everything was accepted there and how that looks going forward. If he ever were to marry again, what would Father's Day look like for him? And finally, we have Harry Lewis. Harry is a student at the University of Delaware. He is the president of the Men's Action Network. He's a contributor to the Huffington Post. And if that's not all enough, he actually appeared with the Lady Gaga in the 2016 Oscars. We are thrilled to have all of you gentlemen here with us tonight. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about Orlando, and this is a subject that we touched on. We actually went live to air. I believe it was for over an hour the first time, and then we did a follow-up segment as well where, you know, it just left us, the country, and our community reeling last weekend from what was going on. I know we woke each other up on Sunday morning, and it was not like any other Sunday morning for once. The quiet serenity of our family life and our homes was shattered by the knowledge that our brothers and sisters, people that were just out dancing, having a good time, having a drink, were never going to be going home to their families again. And this happened in a gay club, yes. But that shouldn't matter. These were people at the core, and that's kind of what we have all strived to get down to. I want to know mostly, how do we move forward now so that our sons and our daughters don't have to potentially deal with any more psychopaths, or how do we make sure that they're safe in a world that's producing these people more and more, these psychopaths? And mostly we want to concentrate on the family aspect of this tragedy. We want to talk about the fact that these were people's sons, these were people's daughters, this was people's parents, their mothers, their grandmothers, the matriarch of the entire household in one case. And, you know, we don't want to spend any time talking about who did this, but we want to talk about who was affected by this and the families. Let's start with you, Heidi. What were your initial reactions, and how has your week gone forward? Has anything changed about your attitude, your zest for life, things of that nature this past week?
I still want to cry every time I think about it. I still want to cry. It hurts when I think about that. I liken this. I was talking to my brother, who is a officer of the law, and it's like when you hear about a police officer that's gunned down in another part of the world, you instantly have this connection because of the brethren, the community that is behind the badge. And I really feel that is what this is like for the gay community. We did not know these people, a lot of us personally, but it cut to the core like it was our brother or our sister. I'm not
I agree. I think one of the major things was that, most of us have been there, done that. I grew up in a gay bar, literally from 18 until 35. You could find me there Friday and Saturday nights, whether I was partying or not, because that's where my sense of community was. That's where I got to twirl my girl on a Saturday night and not have people look at me. Well, they looked at me, but that was for entirely other reasons. But and I think it was an assault on the sanctity of our life and of these tiny little places in each of our community where we actually felt safe.
Our sanctuaries, our where we are able to go out and authentically be us, often uninhibitedly. So where we just got to go be us.
Sin, I see you shaking your head over there. I know that you're going to have so much to say about this, and I know that this has rocked you deeply.
Yeah.
What are some of your thoughts and feelings?
Well, I'm actually was thinking about the next steps thing really deeply. My daughter is 15. She's on the queer spectrum as well, and she was really devastated by this because it was really the first time she knew it wasn't safe. Like, she had no qualms about holding anybody's hand walking down the street. She didn't understand the fear until now. So I took it as an opportunity to educate her. We talked about Stonewall. We talked about some of the fires at some of the clubs. We talked about the history. And then she wanted to go to Pride because she realized that it wasn't just a chance to get free stuff and hang out. And so I found I couldn't get there. I have some physical disabilities. It was too hot today. But its Pride was today, and I made sure she got there and sent her, and she really wanted to be there, and she hooked up with a bunch of her friends, and it meant more to her to be at Pride because she was afraid, but she still went, and I think that's the point.
Yeah, and kind of that makes me think of you, Harry, because you are what we call the millennial, right? You're one of the millennials, and for us old and busted old lesbians, we feel like we did that march, we did that thing, and we were kind of moving away from a sense of community, which is a good thing in a number of different ways that we blend into all other society. But I'm interested from a millennial's point of view, does it change your feeling on how safe this world is for you? I think you guys were growing up with gay characters on TV and gay characters in movies, and maybe with a little bit of a different take on being part of the queer spectrum than what we grew up with.
Absolutely. I think it was a wake-up call in the sense that, like you said, there's so much representation, and coming out in a time where the President of the United States was saying, it's okay to be gay. It was, it was for the first time portraying homophobes and intolerant people as being the bad guys and not the other way around. To then have the script flipped so dramatically and so violently was really terrifying, and was just a real reminder of the legacy of violence that has marked our community, but also how strong we are and how we've managed to come through it decade after decade.
100%. Do you feel that it has at all, for your generation, made you maybe go back to your roots of performing or feeling a little bit more like a tight community than just each for their own and everybody just does their own thing?
I mean, I think I would like to see it happen that way. I think it's a little bit too early to tell yet sort of what this will look like going forward. But I definitely think that this is an opportunity, as sad as it is, to really get a sense of solidarity and unity among our millennial LGBT community, and I would be really heartened to see that going forward. Absolutely.
I agree. I agree. I'm also interested in your take, Samuel, because as you know, there's been so much transgender issues that have been in the news lately, and different things of that nature. You've been having all of your own struggles and people dying, and bathroom laws, and all of this ridiculousness. Do you find that this? Do you think this is going to bring us closer together as a community, where all of us bind together?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how could it not? I find that if there is any kind of silver lining in a tragedy, it's that the people that are affected, kind of everybody comes together and has each other's backs, and that's pretty much what we have to hold on to and look at going forward, so we're a united front and we're a family and a unit, and we're all just people at the end of the day, too, and we just need to keep that mindset, you know?
I agree. I've never had a situation impact me more so where I actually felt like these were brothers and sisters of ours. Chet, you're in the South, and you guys tend to be a little bit behind, can I say a little bit behind the times down there as is? Have you noticed a change in your community? Is the general community kind about this situation, or are you finding a lot of bigotry and things of that nature in the South where people don't care that this happened to people of our community?
You know, I think it's been refreshing. We've seen a lot of church groups, a lot of community vigils where people have really shown that they care and that it matters, that we matter. I think we are a little bit behind, as you would say, on the spectrum of rights, but I do think you find really kind people anywhere,
For
and
sure.
you can certainly find really mean people anywhere,
Certainly.
and I think that what we've seen is mostly community where people have grown together and really talked about it. You know, for me, if you look at the age of these that were killed, most of them are about the age of my kids, and so this is really very personal to me because my daughter is 18 and she wants to go out to the drag shows and she wants to go hang out with her buddies, and as a parent, you try really hard to keep your kids safe. That I'm not the parent of the year, but somehow I kept them alive. And so, you know, all kidding aside, you think about that. You think about the fear of that on a parent end. It broke my heart when we heard the news because, to me, so many of these were kids. They were young people. I don't use the word kid derogatory, but
I know what you say. I call people 20 years younger than me kids at this point too.
You know, I think that's the perspective that I come at it. I think a lot of the people, especially I live in the Fort Worth, Texas area, we're a little bit smaller than Dallas, and a gay community, and a lot of us are my age and older, and so I think for a lot of us, we've gone along to get along. And we've not been in the closet, but we've certainly not thrown ourselves out for fear. And I think now there's a lot of us that are more willing because of the anger of that, you know, that's come in. And
because you want your voice to be heard, you know. And when you're talking about your children there, Chet.
Fed up.
Yeah, no, and when you're talking about your children, that's kind of the aspect that I want to take this to, because this is a parenting talk show, and you know, we're queer based, so we're going to talk about queer issues, but essentially what it comes down to is how do I keep myself safe so that my daughter never wakes up without her parent because of some senseless act like this, and you never can 100%. And how do we change the world going forward so that our kids don't have to grow up in the same way that we did? And for you, Harry, in specific, because you're not at the point where you're having kids yet, does this change your opinion on wanting to bring kids into the world at all? Do you still feel like it's going to be a safe place, or have you just seen too much carnage and prejudice and bigotry in this world to want to bring a child in?
I have mixed feelings. I mean, I'm sort of at that age where I sort of am like very anti-kid at this point. I just sort of like I don't want to do with it. Like just like nowhere.
Me
nowhere
too.
on my radar. But hey, maybe 10, 15 years down the line that will change. So keep my options open. But I think for me, regardless of when you live or where you live, there is always a possibility of danger. And that's just a given, unfortunately, in our world. But that shouldn't stop you from having all of those happy moments and all of the peace and love and wonder that's in the world around you to sacrifice that experience just for the what if, to me, doesn't really make sense. So I would say that I would still be very much open to bringing a kid into the world someday and hopefully showing them more of the love and support than the violence and the sadness.
Yeah, exactly. What we all hope to do.
Carol, I need to mention something quickly for a minute, though.
Thank you.
You're talking about bigotry and things like that, and all of us on the panel, we all have this Caucasian skin, right? And we forget that a lot of the victims there, I mean, we can speak from our own perspective about how this affected us, but the victims of this tragedy were people of color. They were Latinx people on the queer spectrum. And so in that stance, while we can say this affected us, it wasn't entirely our tragedy. I mean, this is a huge, much bigger tragedy to the minority community, the Latinx community, and the queer people of color community.
Sure. Yeah, and that definitely needs to be said, is that it was Latinx night. Latinx night. Sin is my political correct radar meter. As a comic, I'm well over here most of the time.
Latinx makes you not have to say Latino or Latina. It's the term they've used for themselves. It's a gender neutral pronoun.
I am so glad you explained that, because I wasn't going to ask, but I've been like, what? Is like everybody in the world doing a typo right now? Like, what is the X on that?
It's a gender neutral pronoun, so you don't have to guess what gender the person is. It's just Latinx. They're a human being.
I have learned something.
There you go. Our mission is accomplished.
I thought it was a typo in the newspaper. I thought it was a typo all day long, and I thought, well, I guess I've aged out of it because I don't want to read it. But
I've just compared myself to a man in the deep south on knowledge of current events. No, 100%. And let's talk about this 49-year-old grandmother who was kind of like a den mother to to her son, whose life she ended up saving, as well as a number of the other kids in the gay community. And I think that the rest of the world has a hard time grasping that, yes, it's better nowadays, but these are still people whose families stop talking to them, who are very alone in this world when they come out, who a woman like this would have been a matriarch to the entire community, and literally died for her son. What all of us say we will do for her children, she did for her son. Heidi, I saw you getting kind of emotional about that.
Yeah. This is what's really sat with my heart the last couple of days is, okay, there is the father and the brothers and sisters that lost somebody, but there's something that all of us are familiar with in the gay community, even if we have a supportive family, and that is our chosen family. And so there are the chosen families of these people who were killed and hurt, who are experiencing the loss as though it were a blood relative. And my heart just genuinely weeps for these people who may not get the credit or the empathy because they don't have a blood relation. So that is pretty tough. I do know that in Canada, 3 days after the tragedy, there was reporting up here was that there were families that were bodies that still were not picking up.
Part of that was that some of them are undocumented immigrants, which makes it very difficult and not politically expedient to find their families. If they're an immigrant from another country, the child of an immigrant from another country, that's another issue we have in our country right now. So
the idea of there being nobody there to identify. And
I think I've told this story once before on the show on one of the very beginning episodes, so I'll make it quick, but it kind of envelops the point that I'm trying to make, which is these clubs are a sanctuary, as Heidi said. These clubs are a home for many people, and it's hard for people that aren't persecuted against or who can be themselves on a day-to-day basis to understand what these clubs mean to the LGBTQP, to the power of to the power of 10 community. And I remember when I first started going out, I couldn't believe that the gay club was open on Christmas Day. I was like, who the hell would be at a gay club on Christmas Day? Because I came from a small town mentality. You spend time with your family, not even the stores are open. You're telling me there's a club open on Christmas Day? So I decided to go down after I'd done my family things because I needed a drink after being with family all day. And it was one of the busiest days of the year in the club. And again, this was 20 years ago. Things have thankfully changed a little bit, but the reason it was one of the busiest days of the year is because a lot of these people didn't have a family that accepted them to go and spend their Christmas with, so they spent it with their friends and their family of friends, as I like to call it.
Carol?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. And that is, it's a valid point, and especially for a lot of us when we came out. I came out at 30 and lost all of my family. Haven't spoken to my mother and dad in 10 years. Haven't spoken to my brother in 10 years. Don't know his kids. And so for so many of us, that sense of community and family is found at gay bars, at clubs, places where you can go and be around your own kind and not feel singled out. And exactly right. I would like to think it's better for the younger generation. When I see people go out now, I see straight people coming out with gay people and all of that. But back in the day, it's all that you had. It's all that you had to go to.
It's like church in some ways. It's a sacred space where you can be you among people who appreciate you for you.
Yeah.
You're right. Church, it gives you that sense of community that you lost when your church threw you out.
Right.
And I think that's why it hit home so closely for many of us. That was. I don't know if that's changing now. Harry would be one of the people that could only speak to that. I know that the gay bar is becoming less and less because we have got the inclusion in many ways into society that we've been fighting for all these years. But the gay bar still is a symbol of sanctuary and safety to people of the queer community when it comes to that. Sam, do you find that you are still, would you still be going to the gay clubs and things of that nature, or do you assimilate a little bit more into regular society?
Is it for me?
Yeah.
No, I've never actually been. I've been one time in Vancouver, but I've never kind of grew up with any kind of bar like that or anywhere to go like that exactly. So for me, it was always just the regular bar, and I'd go with my best friend, and we'd go around together, and there was never really any problems, so I was really lucky. I grew up when the acceptance was already kind of there for me in a lot of ways. I mean, I have encountered some discrimination, but it's very I count on one hand how many times I've been called out in public, so I consider myself very lucky, but that's something that my town could really use, I think, is a club like that for people that maybe don't have as lucky of a time as I do, for sure.
We could obviously talk about this at length, and we will talk about it at length going forward for many years to come, because it needs to be talked about. It needs to be recognized. These people that died while they were being, in some cases, young and dumb and out for night drinking, not a care in the world, and now they're dead because this was a hate crime. And I don't want to spend too much time on it. I know that everybody's talking ISIS and all these other things, but I think that we would be remiss if we didn't also discuss the fact that and really give homage to the fact that this is a hate crime. This was specifically against our and the Latinx community. It was a racist, it was a bigoted hate crime, it was a hate crime in many different facets and many different ways. But you know, I am getting a little bit tired of hearing that it's an act of terrorism, yes, but it's also a hate crime. And I think that...
Carol, it's important to note, and I was reading an article today about they were doing statistically worldwide which group of peoples experiences the most hate crimes. They surveyed through every racial group, every ethnic group, every religious group, and in every single country, the LGBT community experiences more hate crimes against them than any
100%.
other group.
100%.
You know,
and I mean, we were just
I touched on this in our trans episode. In North America, of the hate crimes that they know where trans people were brutalized specifically because they're trans. So like exactly what a hate crime is, and none of those people charged have ever been charged with a hate crime. They'll be charged with assault or whatnot, but it's never actually legally identified as a hate crime. And
especially when it's a trans person of color. A lot of African American and dark-skinned trans women get murdered constantly in the United States, and nothing happens. It's sad.
And I think it's also a call to arms for everybody in the queer community. We've been kind of witnessing what's been going on with our trans brothers and sisters over the last few months, and we've been kind of rallying behind them, but thank God we're not still there anymore, I think is a little bit of the feeling in the air, and I think this is a shocking reminder that we are still there. And just because we surround ourselves in our little pods of happiness with our friends and our family who accept us and accept queer spectrum people, in many, many other countries, you are still being killed for who you love. You are still being thrown out of windows, burned alive, thrown, all these different things that they're doing in different countries, in South Africa, in parts of Russia, in many, many places. Yeah, exactly. In the United States. And so, it shatters our sense of that we've come so far, and I was kind of not surprised that something did happen, because we have had so many victories lately that some crazy out there is going to say, these guys have had enough of a movement at this point. And my biggest thing about this is why we still need gay pride or queer pride.
Why people still need to be out. And
exactly. Why we need to take our families out. Why this show's mission is to normalize the queer family. And when we started this, we were in a different time. This event hadn't happened. And we said, well, we are normal. Our friends accept us. We're out at work. We're all these things. Well, guess what? That's why this is our mission, because we surround ourselves with people who care about us, but there's a whole other world out there that wants to see harm come to us and does not see us as even remotely a normal family unit at this point in time.
Oh, well,
that's human,
The political party. I mean, somebody in the Republican Party read a Bible verse on the floor of the Senate about condemning and killing gays the other day. This was before Orlando happened. Praying for the death of gay people.
And this is still okay. In the United States, this is still okay in different places. I mean, don't even get me started on the Westboro Church and why they're allowed to be at any kind of, they wouldn't live around me, I'm telling you.
Did you see what happened, though, with the Westboro Church when they did the funeral today? It was beautiful. So a bunch of people, a bunch of allies and people in the queer community got together and sewed these giant angel costumes with huge wings, and they stood around the funeral procession so that nobody could see the Westboro Baptist Church signs. They blocked them.
But these politicians and all of this Texas politician that came out and said something negative about it, you would not be able to say that about a ethnic minority in your country anymore, unless you're Donald Trump, but that's another story as well. But you would not get away with saying it, but we can still quote on the Senate floor that gay people should die and nothing happens to that person. So when you think that we've won so much, think again. Go ahead.
What happened is half the Democrats stood up and walked out. So that was good.
Yeah, go ahead, Chet.
I think that the thing is that it's the groups like Westboro that we know about.
Yeah.
But I think that what we don't realize, and what most people don't realize, is that there's hate speech every Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
In a majority of Christian, and I'll put it in quotes if I could, churches, especially certainly in the Deep South, and hatred is bred there too, and we can't forget that just because the little church on the corner isn't as popular as Westboro as far as getting on the news.
Very
They're
true.
dangerous. They're just as dangerous to our community and to our people.
100%.
So
It's
what
not
I
all
want to know.
churches. Oh, I was going to say,
Sorry.
there are a
Go
lot of churches, though, that are extremely accepting.
There
And
are.
extremely, and if you go to gaychurch.org, you can find them. But it's hard to find them without Googling on the internet or looking for a rainbow flag outside a church, because the other churches without the rainbow flags outside of them are spewing hate.
No.
And they're louder. You notice that? Like, I wish that the inclusive progressive churches were as loud as Westboro Baptist.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same way with the Muslims. The majority of Muslim folks don't think that gays should be killed, but the ones who do are louder. The same thing with Christians. It's the same thing.
So
Hallie, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna kind of change the topic a little bit and go towards what we can do, because I feel like that's something that that nobody is talking about. Nobody's talking about what do we do from here.
Harry, what can we do from millennials' point of view? What do you feel that people of your age are going to do to change this going forward? Do we act politically? Do we do marches? How do we change this perception going forward? How do we continue to grow?
Well, I think part of it is knowing our past and our history, because we only hear about Stonewall as a footnote in our history books, in high school, and it's happening now, and a lot is changing, but there is so much in our past that we just don't know about. And I think that's true in the context of the spread of HIV, particularly among younger generations. We didn't live through the AIDS epidemic of the 1980s, so there's this whole sort of gap of history repeating itself because we don't have that knowledge. So it's step one is educating ourselves, and then step two, I think, would be keeping that same historical spirit of resistance and pride intact in a way that really is purposeful, direction-oriented in terms of getting real substantive policies enacted. I think it really isn't enough to just tweet about something or to post about something. You really have to be getting out there and put boots on the ground and do something about it. And I think if we can do that, I think we'll be in good shape.
Bang on, Harry.
Exactly.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't
Samuel,
live in fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% don't live in fear. Samuel, what do you think that you can do specifically for the trans community with everything that's going on, and in addition now this tragedy? What are you going to do with your family going forward to, normalize yourself into society so that people don't view us as the enemy anymore or different anymore?
Well, I've been really thinking a lot lately about raising good people. So raising and educating our children, loving our children, teaching them about everybody's differences doesn't make it a bad thing. Everybody can be different. That's what makes people beautiful, that we're not all the same, right? So my focus for myself will mainly be trying to teach my kids and, grow better humans and grow good humans and let it spread that way. I mean, that's probably my main focus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Coming from a family, Chet, that, as you stated, was a little bit divided when you came out, how do you keep your children focused on having open hearts and going forward with hopefully a voice of and a thought and a feeling of love in their hearts regarding all people?
The whole generation, 18, 20, 25-year-olds, totally different group of kids. They really, they love people, and I don't know how you focus that. I guess I did something right, but that a lot of it is making sure that especially at my age, that we're out in our community, that we're involved in the kids' schools, and that's not the easiest thing to do in the South. It's not always fun.
I can imagine.
I'm extremely involved in everything that the kids have done in order to show that we're just like everybody else.
Exactly.
And, that and I think with both of my kids, they've been big parts of their local. What is the group at school?
Oh,
GSA.
Gay Straight Alliance.
Yeah.
yes.
And so they've been really involved in that, and I've gone and spoken at their events and things like that. So I think I think we'll see a shift, but how do you keep something like this from happening again? I
Yeah.
don't think you ever can. I think that you hope and you do the best that you can
Yeah.
to constantly show people that we deserve the same respect as anybody else, that we love our kids and our family the same as everybody else.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. So we're gonna end this segment, and we're gonna move on to some Father's Day stuff, because it's time to celebrate the parents that are doing it right, and the parents that are bringing these kids up to be better people and more understanding people. But before we do, finally, we were thinking about how we could honor the victims in Orlando, and what we could do. We thought about moments of silence, and we decided that we're not going to do a moment of silence, because we have been silent for long enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to light a candle, and or a lighter, or whatever the case may be, and in about 15 seconds or less, Chet, we're going to give you a little bit longer, and you're going to be first up here. Coming from our hearts, coming from our prayers and our minds to the victims of Orlando, what would you like to leave us with today on that, Chet?
That we will turn anger into action, that there's no reason for this. There's no reason for young people, for people who are out in a club to be murdered, that there's no reason for this kind of hate in the world, and we will change the world, and it's slow and it's incremental, and some of us have seen it change a lot, and it'll change again, and for the better, and in that, we won't forget these 40. I know I won't. Every one of those who were murdered, I will remember. I've made effort to post those names, to pray over those names, and for those families, and that's something that I will do to make a difference.
Well said, Chet. Sin?
Oh, my candle's symbolic. See, I'm lighting a candle to light a fire under the ashes of the people who could make a difference.
Yeah.
So you need to start. You need to start making a difference. You need to get out there, and you need to vote, and you need to, show up and talk to your congressman, call them. I've done it, and you need to make changes so that this kind of thing can't happen, and so that people have equal rights, and so that people are safe. So this candle is a fire under the ashes of those who think thoughts and prayers are enough, because they're not.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Hallie, like the berry.
You can't be scared. We can't live scared. We can't hide. We can't stay in our houses. We can't just sit here. We have to go to Pride. We have to celebrate. We have to volunteer in our kids' schools. That is what's most important, is to be out there and be good, happy people, so that they see the community as a normal, sees us as happy, normal people, and not angry and not hiding.
Agreed. Don't be scared, anybody. That's what they want. Harry?
I would say that you picked the wrong people to mess with.
Right?
We're a tough bunch of people. We've been through a lot over the past, decades alone, much less centuries. And I would just say that for those people who think they can mess with us and get away with it, we're gonna go ahead and kick your butt a little bit. And I'd be surprised if we really found a way to stand in solidarity and strength and really make some meaningful change.
I love it, Harry. Heidi, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I want us to continue to connect as a community. Make yourself available, whether it be on your social media groups or your own Facebook status, or out in the community. Make yourself known and make yourself available, and keep talking about this. let people know that if they have sadness in their heart over this, that you are somebody that they can come and talk to, and you can cry with them, and you can grieve together, and let's keep this as an ability to connect as a community. We get well in community. We get well in community. We're ill in isolation.
Yeah. Samuel, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, but we gotta stick together and live loud and not forget that we have to partake in pride and all that. We're still got a long ways to go, but we can keep going. We can do this.
Agreed. I'm going to use my pride lighter here, just saying, to light my candle here. Pride, baby. So this is what I want to say in closing, and it's in regards to the families. Every single one of these 49 people, I want to leave you with this. They were somebody's mother. They were somebody's daughter. They were somebody's brother. They were somebody's sister. They were somebody's grandparent. They were somebody's niece, and they were somebody's nephew. And not only have these 49 lives been taken from the earth far too soon, but each person, if they know 100 people, that's how many people have been directly affected by the shooting in Orlando. And as much as it has affected our entire community, we need to focus on the families, and we need to focus on what we can do to continue to bring the family together with things like the Qualk Show, with things like forums, with things like chat rooms, with things like where people can access resources so that we can move forward with our families into safety, hopefully in the future, as much as we can in this crazy world. So let's let that go, and let's celebrate Father's Day.
Yay!
Yay! So I want to move on. I want to celebrate some of the good that is in our community, and a lot of the good that's in our community is family. Okay, family in any community is the bolster of communities. It brings our community together. Our entire community, I often feel, is family, but then our singular families as well. I want to know how Father's Day works in a family with a dad who's dating, Chet.
Well, at my age, dating is relative. But,
loose and fancy free. Don't try to trick the viewers.
I think it's fun. I think that as far as how Father's Day works, when you've got a 17-year-old son and an 18-year-old daughter that are both working, the best thing that they can give you is not saying Dad for a day or two. And
right.
So my son has lived with me full time for the last nearly 10 years, and then my daughter is going to college very close to me, so she had lived with her mom and was back and forth, and now she's with.
All right, Chet's having some.
Did I lose you?
You had a few testicle difficulties there, Chet.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. My grandmother's trying to call me through on my phone.
The fact that she knows how to call a cellular phone, I think, is something that, if it's your grandmother.
So anyway, with the kids, at this time, it's a fun time of life. They want to do stuff with me. They're both very proud, and they're both really excited when I'm dating. Right now I'm engaged, and they're both very excited about that. They want to be a part of it.
A very handsome man as well. You guys are blowing up our queer family feed with all your cuteness and all the lesbos trying to get in there, eh?
Yeah, he's a hottie for sure.
Yeah.
So those are, we've celebrated Father's Day all different ways, from camping to cooking dinner together to them buying with my own money.
To them buying with my own money.
and that's always fun to give your kids $20 so they can go get your own gift.
Well played. I like that. I like that a lot. Carrie, I think you're probably at an age where your dad stopped giving you $20 to go and buy his gift.
Yeah.
What's it like growing up with a father who's supportive? How do you honor your dad on Father's Day?
Yeah, he's doing his triumphant arms right now. I mean, it's so difficult to try to just take like one day to honor someone. My late grandmother always had a joke that she was like, every day should be Mother's Day, and sort of treat the same idea as every day should be Father's Day and every day should be Mother's Day. Just the idea that if to have a family that's so supportive 365 days a year, to just sort of take one day is difficult.
100%.
So
That's Harry's way of saying he forgot to buy a gift.
I did not. I did. It's all wrapped. It's good to go. I took care of it. I'm good. But yeah, no. I would say, just trying to do my best to really, try to do the impossible. I guess is my best answer.
Yeah. Samuel, things have been a little bit different for you because you only transitioned fully over in the last few years from talking with you. When you first started dating your now fiance, I believe you celebrated your first and last Mother's Day. And how does that change for you going into Father's Day? Has there been any changes for you, for your family, and for your stepchild?
Well, aside from the obvious gender change,
Yeah.
things are not really all that different as far as the way I like to celebrate something.
Yeah.
Mostly, I just feel like I can talk about beer more and like give me beer, and it doesn't sound as bad coming from a stepdad as opposed to a stepmom. But yeah, it's been a good change, and my stepdaughter's done really well with it. And I asked her in the car today, how has it been for you going from having stepmom to having a stepdad? She's like, "Oh, I don't really care."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
That's what I love about kids. They just don't care. They're like, what?
Exactly.
Am I supposed to care about this?
Yeah.
Well, and thankfully, that's the generation that we're talking about. That's being brought up now.
Like Samuel said, that's who we're raising. Like that is our job. Is how are we raising our children?
So for the women on the panel, how do you celebrate Father's Day? Is it just a non-issue, Hallie? I know you guys do something special with your other mom.
Yeah, I have two moms, so I had a dad at one point. He's no longer in the picture. So with my moms, we actually just celebrate all on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
But when we had my daughter, my now former wife and I decided that we wanted special days, that we each deserved, that we were both moms, but we each deserved a special day of pampering. And we decided that I like perfume and flowers and she likes drills and guns. So I would celebrate Mother's Day because my stuff's on sale, and she would celebrate Father's Day because that's when her stuff's on sale. So we have Mother's Day and other Mother's Day. And that's just how it is. And it was so cute. Today my daughter is with her other mom for the weekend, but she was like, well, when is there a Roxy Day, which is my former wife's girlfriend, long-term girlfriend. So according to my daughter, everybody needs a damn day. So there's Mommy Day, a Mama Day, a Roxy Day, a Grammy Day, a Papa Day. Like, everybody needs a day, damn it.
I like that theory, actually. She's a girl of my own heart, right? She's just looking for a party every day of the week.
On top of their birthdays, they need another day, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Do your kids celebrate Father's Day still, Sin? What goes on there?
My kids celebrate their grandfathers. So my father-in-law rents our base, lives with us. We take care of him. He's got some medical needs, and he stays with us. And so my kids celebrate Father's Day for him. So we buy him gifts, and they cook him some food. We make him a cake today, so when he sees it, he'll see it tomorrow. So they use Father's Day as a chance to celebrate their grandparents, their grandfathers.
I love it.
Nice. Chet, if you're engaged, you're remarrying, will you share the Father's Day title with your new soon-to-be husband, or is that something that you basically, they're adults kind of when you're getting together? So is that just always going to be yours?
I don't know. Maybe I'll give them money to get him a gift.
They're like 17, 18. They can make a little bit of money themselves at this point, right?
I think it's a fair question. I don't know. We haven't discussed. I don't know that when you're dating someone and you fall in love, that's day. Do we share Father's Day?
Fair enough.
So I don't know, but it's a good question. We'll ask.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that's up to the kids if they want to start honoring him as a father or not.
Yeah, and that's
Or-
something that comes over time,
Or he
right?
could, or they could be like my daughter and just have a whole nother damn day.
Yeah, exactly.
And with
Daddy's
my
new
kids,
man's day.
too, they have a stepdad that's been in their life for 9, 10 years, and so they honor him
Gotcha.
on Father's Day too. And he's a really good guy.
Awesome.
So I'd hate to take that away from him.
Yeah.
So I think I think that in family dynamics, when you have mixed families, you just work it out. We've worked out a lot of holidays, and we figured it out when they were little. He and I would take kids and do stuff on Father's Day together.
Yeah.
And
That's how it should be.
worked. You work it out.
Exactly.
So sure we'll figure it out, but right now I'm not sure I'm going to give up.
Your day, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just make a Chet day. We'll just go with Hallie's daughter's way of life, and we'll just have a Chet day.
Yep.
I like
You like that? I'm so surprised that you would like that, Chet.
I grew up with divorced and remarried parents, so I grew up with 2 moms and 2 dads for most of my life. I grew up in a very, very small town, rural community, so there definitely wasn't the option to make 2 Mother's Day or 2 Father's Day presents growing up. But I did honor both my dad and my stepfather on Father's Day, as I did my mom and my stepmom on Mother's Day. And I think my wife and I are going to share Mother's Day, and I think we're just going to share Father's Day as well. And
You greedy bitches.
Yeah, I know.
Everything. Just taking everything.
Absolutely.
Mommy, it's Father's Day. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I want my gift.
I like flowers, but I also like to build shit. So
There you go. I like it.
Exactly.
Well, if you ever want to build shit, you come down here and build shit. Because I like to build.
Yeah.
nice.
Exactly.
I just built a trampoline this morning for my daughter. It was
For some reason, Heidi, I feel like you'd be just fine down there.
I really do.
You would take your chickens with you
Yep.
in a U-Haul, just lesbian styles,
Yeah. I've got great boobs and I'm built like a brick shithouse. I would do just fine.
Yes, you
Right.
Exactly. No, I just am so glad and excited that all of you gentlemen came on the show today to, discuss Father's Day. Again, something that none of us know anything about. Let's leave this segment with this, and I'm going to put you guys on the spot now. So, what is the best or funniest Father's Day gift that you have received? Or in Harry's case, do you remember anything that you made for your parents that is still on the coffee table and you kind of wish it wasn't? Chet, let's start with you.
In my front yard, I have a 7.5-foot rooster. I have the biggest cock on the block. my kids bought that for me.
I have the biggest cock on the block.
I do. The kids bought that for me about 4 or 5 years ago, and
That
with my
is
money,
amazing.
yeah. And so it's a giant yard art metal rooster that does not match anything else that I would ever have, and so it. Probably it can't go in the house because it's too big.
Yeah,
so it has to sit out.
Yeah.
So I never have the big cock.
See, and that doesn't work the same way for women, because that's something proud of you. But if my daughter makes me a giant beaver and hangs it on the front of the house, I don't think that I'm going to take it as such a compliment. But that's
Forget that. I want a big cock in my front yard.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I was thinking.
Cock in the block. What?
And you get a cock, and you get a cock.
The thing is, I mean, Carol, we can purchase any size we want.
That's true. That's
But I
true.
want a 7'1" in my yard.
Exactly. Yeah, in your yard,
Tier
Hallie.
1, giant rooster.
Harry, tell me you've made something hilarious for your family over the years.
Oh goodness, Dad, I don't know. What do you? He can't remember anything.
I know, right?
I do remember when we were in preschool. we used to do these like little craft things for Mother's Day and Father's Day, and you like put your little handprint in the the mold, and have a little poem on that would go attached with it. It was always like, oh, like these hands only be so small for so long. And I remember being young and be like, yeah, right, like that's gonna happen. And, cleaning at the basement, moving my stuff from college down into the basement for the summer, I was looking at one of them and I was like, oh my gosh, like that really was me at one point. So it was just sort of interesting to see how fast the kids grow up.
Exactly. Samuel, have you gotten anything that's funny, or did you make anything that was funny when you were growing up?
Honestly, I was never really the creative type growing up, so mostly I just made my mom go buy my dad a 4-pack of Guinness or something and put a bow on it. Motivated card. I'm from a European family.
Exactly.
But I haven't gotten anything particularly funny that stands out to me right now. I always get a really nice card and it says really great things in it, and that's usually mostly what I remember from my Father's Day.
Adorable. I'm going to put you on the spot again. Are you planning on having more kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the kids.
Exactly.
All the kids.
Exactly. I love that. So yeah, let's end it with that. I think that was so much fun. I love hearing about this stuff. Chet, you win. You win.
Yes.
Chet is a giant cock.
Yeah, I am.
But Chet, you not only win at having the biggest cock on the block, but you win for having some cool ass kids. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those are pretty funny kids.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good for you. Well, you know what it shows to me, Chad, is that you are doing it right, and the same with you, Samuel, and the same with you, Harry. Being a son is no less harder than being a father, and being a good family member in all ways. So, congratulations to all of you guys. Happy Father's Day to all of you, and thank you for joining us on the show tonight. I want to just thank everyone on the panel and those of you watching at home for joining us. On next week's show, we are going to be celebrating the end of season 1. And, this has been such a fun...
It goes by so fast.
It does go by so fast.
That first year.
I like the little, oof. Yeah. We're gonna take hiatus for a couple of months. Some of us. Stephanie, my producer, never lets me have very much time off. So something fun that will be coming at you is we're going to be doing a spin-off with Stephanie and her wife Adria and myself and my partner Nicole. That's going to be basically a live reality show edited down to some tidbits so that you get a snapshot into our lives if you want one. And, it's a gong show in both of our houses all the time. The reason we came up with it is just talking about Stephanie and my similarities and Adria and Nicole's similarities, and basically a continuation of celebrating the queer family and all of its quirks and fun and poignant moments as well. We're going to recap some of our favorite moments on next week's show from season 1, and we're going to give you an idea of what you can expect for season 2. This has always been a plan in motion. We kind of all got together in January, and our producer Stephanie stepped in and actually, made something of us out of all of the talk, out of all of the chat room talk. She just came on for her accolades there. I don't know if you guys saw that. But so, shout out to Stephanie as well, who turned this from an idea into a show. And we're going to be tweaking it. We'd love to hear from you, the fans, on what you would like to see, what you don't like seeing, what's going to make you tune in next season. We're going to change the format a little bit, but we don't want to reinvent the wheel. So, let us know what you like, what you don't like. And again, next week, we're going to be sending it off with a bang. And you're going to have to tune in to see what that means. And we'll can't wait to have you guys back for season 2. Hallie, how is everybody going to get a hold of us?
Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, go to the comments below section. We want to know what was your favorite show and what was your least favorite show, so we can recreate the one you hated and never do the one you loved again.
Yeah, exactly.
So go in the comments below on YouTube now, because you're watching this after the fact. Let us know. Chanel did say hi, so of course we love you, Chanel. Hi.
What's up, Chanel? Love you,
Hi,
girl.
Chanel.
Of course, our Facebook page. That's our primary page. That's where we're really, really on. So the Qualk Show. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram.
We're in.
I think we have a Snapchat, but I don't know.
She's our director of marketing. She thinks that we have a Snapchat.
I know we actually have everything. I've never used our Snapchat, but I think let me rephrase that. I'm going live tomorrow on Snapchat. I have my Portland Pride is tomorrow. My big Pride, my company is the primary sponsor. I will be on Snapchat all day tomorrow, showing you what a shit show our Pride is. So go to our Snapchat, and I'll save it, and I'll throw it on our YouTube afterwards.
Real quick, Kelly, when are we doing our Bad Moms thing?
We are doing our Bad Moms on the 29th. That's the premiere night.
So everybody's going to be going to their local movie theaters. We're going to be going live. We're going to be sharing that Bad Moms movie together.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
just having a lot of fun as a community. I want to have our cheers tonight. Usually they're really funny and all of that stuff, but today we're going to go a little bit different. Here's to never succumbing to the hatred and fear in this world. I drink to love. I drink to solidarity. I drink to hope. And most of all, I drink to pride, baby.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you next week, everyone. And remember, there is always something to quack about. See you next week, everybody. Thanks for joining us.